Well, joining me on stage tonight, we have Colonel Reginald Evans. Colonel Evans, he entered active duty in 1999 with a commission in the Signal Corps with a detailed assignment in armor in Prairie View, at Prairie View A&M University. He has served in various warfighting formations and has 6 operational and combat deployments. Colonel Evans currently serves as the garrison commander of Fort Gordon here in Augusta, Georgia, and in his spare time, I love this, in his spare time, Colonel Evans enjoys devising a plan for Fort Gordon to one-up Thunder over Evans. So you've got your hands full on that one, I tell you. So
no chance.
Yes, but Colonel Evans, welcome to Columbia County. Can we give him a round of applause? So Colonel Evans, why don't we start, you were here with us last year. Why don't you start with maybe going over a couple key milestones that have happened over the past year.
Hey, sir, and thanks to the board and the chamber and the community and teammates. Thanks again for this tremendous opportunity to come and talk about Fort Gordon. Really love to do it. And so if you remember when I was here a year ago, I talked about 3 things: child development centers, housing, and transformation on the installation. And so in each one of those areas, I'd like to report that we are trending in the right direction. For our child development centers, we tied some of our challenges, many of our challenges, to staffing. And so still coming out of recovery from COVID, we were challenged in staffing our force. And so we were operating at 61% a year ago. Today, we're upwards of 80% capacity in all of our child development centers. So we've got, out of our 3 CDCs, we've got just about all of our classrooms open. And then I'd also like to say that with our MWR facilities across the board, we brought on 46 additional personnel that we've been able to recruit and retain, and that's helped our manning as well. And so absolutely good progress taking place in our child development centers. For housing, which is another one of my what I call glass balls, those are the things that we don't want to drop or make sure they don't fail. Housing, a year ago, we just couldn't get out of our own way. We were in the news constantly, and as many of you know, that Balfour Beatty Communities is our privatized housing partner. And so we were going through the challenges with them. They too were challenged in their staffing. They were operating at 50% capacity. We had poor customer service. And we had a work order backlog of over 1,400 work orders in the queue. And so we just couldn't get out of our own way. But I'm happy to say that their corporate office stepped up. They got us the right leadership in the right places on the installation. Leadership that's come in and changed the climate across the force and their team. For the last 9 months, up until, let's say, a month ago, they were operating at 100% staffing. And that's been extremely beneficial to us to knock down that work order backlog. We now have better customer service, and we're not only just getting after daily operations, we're now getting into some of the upper level graduate assistance efforts for our residents. We are now renovating homes. We brought up 50 new homes, brought online 50 homes that were offline a year ago. And so that improves our inventory, reduces our wait list, and then it also improves the fiscal viability of the overall program. And then lastly, I'll end with housing. Pine Tree Terrace, I've been talking about Pine Tree Terrace. My predecessor has talked about Pine Tree Terrace for the last year and a half. So today, happy to report that Balfour Beatty has started initial ground clearing efforts for Pine Tree Terrace, which is 76 new homes that we'll want to soon have here in the next about 18 to 24 months on the installation for our residents and families. So on the housing front, really good news.
That's huge.
Yes, sir. And then lastly, in the transformation arena, we've done a really good job with trying to maintain our campus. So with our cyber campus, our 4 new military construction projects, we've been able to secure funding for all 4 of those projects to keep them all synchronized. And then also we have transitioned our transformation efforts to permanent party barracks for our permanent party soldiers. Because for us, that equals retention and recruiting, and both retention and recruiting equal readiness. And so that's where we've been focused for the last year, sir.
That's right. That's great. Child care is a huge thing, obviously, in our community, too, and one of the things that the Chamber's focused on as well. So we appreciate all you guys do in that world, too. So, the video touched on it a little bit. Obviously, it's no secret, I think, anymore. Fort Gordon is going to be soon Fort Eisenhower. Talk a little bit about the redesignation ceremony we have coming up and how the public can kind of get involved.
Yes, sir. So on the 27th of October, that's the big day. So we are redesignating from Fort Gordon to Fort Eisenhower, and a huge ceremony out on Martin Field. That's our big parade field. Happy to announce that we have the Secretary of the Army who's coming down. She and members of the Eisenhower family will be guest speakers in addition to the Commanding General of the installation, Major General Paul Stanton. And so what you can expect is a big ceremony full of, we're going to have a lot of different things going on and taking place. We'll have some sign unveilings. We'll also unveil a bust as well of General Eisenhower a couple of days prior, and then also on the day of the ceremony. And that ceremony, as I understand it, our invitations have started going out yesterday. So some of you have already come up and told me that you're starting to get invitations. The invitations will continue to go out here for the next about a week time frame. How you can get involved, what I'd like to say is just be our eyes and ears, if you don't mind. We don't hear, sitting on the inside of the four walls of the installation, we don't hear any negative sentiments about the renaming. But I know in the community there may be some. And I'll ask you, if you hear of any, please get that back to us so that we can address those and address that audience the right way with the right messages. Additionally, I'll ask you, many of you are small business owners and you conduct business with the installation or do things on with the installation, just in your own areas, identify Fort Gordon, things that are Fort Gordon that we'll need to rename to Fort Eisenhower. And so if you can do that for us, we'd really appreciate it. And lastly, I'll ask you to just come out and be a part of some of the renaming activities. Starting on the 25th of October, we're going to rename our Gordon Conference and Catering Center to the Eisenhower Conference and Catering Center. And that's going to be a nice reception open to the community. Obviously, the ceremony is on the 27th. And then on the 28th, we're going to have a golf fall trifecta, which is the event where we're going to rename our golf Gordon Lakes to Eisenhower Lakes. So I'd ask you to come out and be a part of those ceremonies.
Well, and kudos to you guys. I know the Eisenhower family was a big target that you guys wanted to get them involved, and I know October was kind of a special time frame with his birthday being in the month. So kudos to you guys for including them and making them a part of this celebration.
And we couldn't do this without the Eisenhower family. We've been tied in with them from the beginning and glad to have them on board.
Excellent. Let's turn our attention to the cyber campus. Why don't you, if you can, talk a little bit about how many students the campus will train and educate, and what's the total economic value and cost of the project?
Yes, sir. So the cyber campus consists of 4 facilities: a new command headquarters for the Commanding General and his staff, a new cyber school. Those are the 2 facilities that you see going up right now. Here in another 3 years, you'll see 2 more facilities go up, and it's going to be a new signal school and a new lecture hall and auditorium. And so those 4 campuses right now, 4 buildings right now, will encompass the new campus that we envisioned for the Cyber Center of Excellence. Right now, the Cyber Center of Excellence trains just under 3,000 students, and that's all ranks and even different services as well on the installation. And so at the end of the project, we'll have those 4 new facilities along with the 8 additional facilities that we're renovating as well. So you have 12 purpose-built facilities to house the training effort. And that's going to replace the 29 facilities that they operate in right now across the installation. So that's a huge movement for us. And when it's all said and done, sir, it will be right at about $1 billion campus. And so that investment started about 3 years ago, and it will continue on for another 7 years. And then we'll start another campus after that, which will be about another $1.3 billion investment into the economy.
Excellent. I'm looking at my clock here, and I've got 1 minute of your time. But talk a little bit, tongue-in-cheek. You said you're trying to one-up Thunder Ogre Evans. You guys do a lot of stuff for the community that is open to the public. Talk a little bit about some of the benefit or things that the public can come out and visit it.
Yes, sir. And so one of the biggest events we do every year is our 4th of July Independence Day celebration. And so that you're going to see next year. If you didn't come out this year, we had a better fireworks show was fell just short of Thunder Rover Evans, I'll tell you. But a little bit better fireworks show. Next year we're going to up the entertainment. So that's the draw for you for next year. But coming up here in the next month, we've got our Fall Fest, and that's going to be the 14th and the 15th of October out on Martin Field. Big open celebration, and that again is open to the public. Additionally, I've talked about some of the renaming events that are taking place. I'll ask that you come out and be a part of those on the 25th for the Eisenhower Conference and Catering Center, and then on the 28th, our golf ball trifecta. So anytime that you can come out, we'd love to have you. And those are events that I know are open to the community. So feel free to come out and join us, sir.
Colonel Evans, it's great having you in our community. We really appreciate all you bring to it. I want to throw a quick statistic out there that Dr. Tom Clark, who's here tonight, threw out at one of the chamber executive luncheons, but I think it's worth reiterating. $2.1 billion in economic impact of Fort Gordon in our community. You can't replace that with anything else. So, Colonel Evans, we're glad you're here. We're glad Fort Gordon's here, soon to be Fort Eisenhower. We look forward to hearing more reports next year.
Hey, sir, we appreciate it. I just want to say, sitting in this position, I've never been on an installation, affiliated with an installation that has the following and the support of the community like Fort Gordon, soon to be Fort Eisenhower. So I just want to say to the folks who are present here, thank you so much for the support that you have and that you give to our installation and our mission. We are, and the installation is able to carry out its core function because we know that the CSRA has our backs, and we thank you so much for it. I thank you for it.
Thank you. Can we give him a round of applause?
Thank you, sir.
Well, some of you may have recognized that video from last year's program. We loved it so much we played it twice. We actually do have a brand new video for the city of Harlem that we'll make sure that y'all get a copy of and get to air. But I wanted to take a quick, I mentioned before that we have representatives from each of our community. And with the city of Harlem, we've got some members of our city council here with us. So again, if you hear your name, feel free and raise your hand. I'm going to run through the name of all of them, and then we'll introduce our guest here, and then we'll give them a round of applause. But please bear with me. We've got Mayor Roxanne Whitaker. We've got Mayor Pro Tem Greg Stokes, Council Member Danny Bellavance, Council Member Al Reeves, and Council Member John Thigpen. And of course, joining me on stage is City Manager Deborah Moore. So let's give them all a round of applause. First of all, my apologies on the video, but you know, the sentiment is the same in a lot of it, and you guys will be. I think when you see the actual video, it's you'll be impressed. We had Ray Fulcher in it. I mean, it's a top-notch video, y'all. You gotta have to see it. But over the years, Deborah, why don't we get into it? But over the years, we've seen the population size of Harlem grow by 3% each year. Talk to us a little bit about how Harlem is preparing for growth in population.
Sure. Currently, we have several developments going on. We have 3 that are very active that will have at least 200 homes once everything is built out. We have another development that is getting started. It's actually located in our downtown, which will help with walkability for them as well. That'll have an additional 26, and one more that is just as you get outside of downtown. It'll have an additional 70 homes, and we'll have 2 to 3 commercial spaces to get some more commercial into Harlem.
Excellent. One of the things that was in the video that I was going to tease, but the video kind of talked about the old North Harlem Elementary School property. You guys have a project coming on. Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Sure. We're excited about this project coming on. We've been working with Dr. Flint and the Board of Education, and we're ready to hit the ground running on with it. We do look to close on the property in the next couple of weeks. This will be a multi-purpose park. Will include, the splash pad everybody likes, playground equipment, tennis courts, pickleball, even a veterans memorial and green space and that. So we're looking forward to get started with this and moving forward.
Excellent. We've got tons of great parks in our community, and obviously that would be a great addition, especially even for the folks in the city of Harlem.
Absolutely.
So Harlem has something I think that's very unique in our community, at least, or at least in our county. You guys have a downtown, a true downtown that has retail shops, and it's just got that hometown feel. Talk about the economic impact of that area with all the events and the things that you guys got going on down there?
Sure. We've had several events, of course, that already happened the beginning of the year. What we have coming up now, of course, is our annual All Bahari Festival, which can bring in estimated between 15 to 20,000 over the day of the festival. It is a one-day festival. We do have a bed and breakfast that stays full the whole week before and that weekend. Our merchants are open that day and get plenty of visitors and that type of thing. We do have coming up in October as well. We have Ladies' Night Out, so ladies, come on out, shop in Harlem and have a good time.
That's right.
Let's see. We also have our Trick or Treat on Main. These two programs or events are sponsored by our Harlem Merchants Association, which is very active in Harlem. In November, we have our Small Business Saturday, which is sponsored with the Merchants Association and Chamber.
That's right.
So we look forward to that. And our last event would be our Christmas Festival, which is a festival during the day. We have a twilight parade at night. And it's a good time. Yeah,
well, and we always love every year. It's since I've been here, it's been a tradition of coming to downtown Harlem and celebrating Small Business Saturday. It's a fun event. It's a great area to really highlight some of our local businesses. So thank you for always being gracious hosts to the Chamber. For such a small community, and you guys talked about it, and again, the video was outstanding, but there was that sense of home, talking a lot about home, the hometown feel. You guys have a lot to hang your hat on. Again, Ray Fulcher talked about it in there, that Harlem is home. But you got a team that recently just won a baseball championship with Harlem High School. What is it about Harlem that just has that hometown feel?
What I believe it is, it's the people. We have a strong sense of community and family in Harlem. We look out for each other and take care of each other. We have both the old Harlem, the new Harlem, and we work together to make a difference.
Yeah. I love going downtown. I love walking down that street, and the last time I was out there, they were painting that new mural on the side wall there, and I mean, it does. It has that hometown feel that you feel like you're part of the community when you go. So.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Deborah, for coming out and sharing a little bit. And like I said, we'll make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to see that video. We're going to post it on our website.
Okay.
I know you guys will be sharing it on your social media too, but we do apologize for that little mess up there, but all good. It just builds the anticipation when you guys see it. So, moving on, we're going to thank you again, Deborah, for being here. Let's give her a round of applause. Awesome. Well, before we get started, obviously we have several members of the Columbia County Board of Education here joining us tonight. So again, as I call your name, if you'll raise your hand or stand, whatever you prefer, and then please hold your applause until the end. But with us tonight, we have Chair David Deacle, Vice Chair and District 1 Representative David Alaloff, District 2 Representative Christy Baker, District 3 Representative Judy Teasley, and District 4 Representative Leanne Meyer. And of course, joining us on stage, we have Superintendent Dr. Stephen Flint. Please give him a round of applause. Well, we had a lot of activity going on in this video, so why don't we kind of dive right into it. In the video shared this evening, we were able to see many of the great things that you guys are that are happening across the district. Can you elaborate a little bit further on the development of the vision of the Columbia County School District?
Absolutely, and good evening, everybody. And Russ, thank you for doing this. And
Yes.
I like this format. It sounds like we're just sitting in
cozy.
right in your living room.
That's right.
I say this frequently, but especially with the people in the room today, government, school districts, all the businesses don't work well unless we work together. And I've never seen it done better than here. And we're going to see this throughout the theme of the people who are talking tonight, but we've got a lot of businesses in the room that are here too. And I'm going to hopefully be able to share a little bit of the partnership that's happening, not only across the government sector, but also the private sector. The Board of Education and I are extremely excited about where we are today. I mean, if that video doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Getting out into the schools, which I try to do frequently, that's what makes it work for us. We made our new updated vision, mission, and strategic plan a little over a year and a half, somewhere around two years ago. And if you saw that posted on the video tonight, you saw that that's a pretty aspirational statement. We got that from you, the community who own the schools. Your children go to schools. You have expectations for what this school district will do for this community. And we heard loud and clear that we're really proud of our achievement, which we are, but we want to take it to the next level. And that's why we went to lead the nation in educational excellence, because our children deserve that. But really, more importantly, we have all the ingredients here to make that happen. We have the kids in the schools that can do it. We have the parents that are involved, and we have a great community that is overly involved in the schools. Excellent input from all of you, and we really look forward to continuing to increase that. I can't say enough about our staff. Our Board of Education and a number of our staff members are in the room today. And so we seek to make that happen. We've got about 1 year of that strategic plan already under our belt. And some of the questions I think you're going to ask me, I'm going to get to some of those answers on what we saw in the last year and what we hope to see this next year. The rest of that vision said we're focused on each student. Not all students, not the aggregate data for our school district, each and every student. It's about every one of them achieving their potential. And we're going to do that in 3 ways. We're going to engage, we're going to enrich, and we're going to inspire. And last year we hit on all 3 of those. But this year we're really focusing on engage. And it's not just engagement of the students, it's engagement of me and you, the people who work for the school district, the parents, and the overall community, including the businesses. And Russ, thank you and everybody else for being engaged in the schools, just like our staff and students are.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure. Obviously, we work hand in hand with you through our foundation, and it's exciting to hear you talk about engagement. I think we saw a period over the last couple of years where we have a very disengaged kind of, coming out of the pandemic. So it's good to hear that you're focusing on returning to that engagement. So talk a little bit about the major initiatives the district's working on this school year.
Absolutely. I'll just hit a couple of the big ones. The first is the development of our own curriculum. As you probably know, every state has standards that we are expected to meet. We're building our own curriculum that our teachers will have resources to be able to provide to their students a high level of rigor in the classroom. We're calling it ACE, the Academic Curriculum of Excellence. So when you hear that word ACE, there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of development that's happened. Many times you hear about textbooks or resources that we provide students. Our curriculum is going to be what we created with parents and with the community. We're going to have annual reviews of that curriculum, so you'll have input and you'll have say in that. What's better than a community where your businesses have input into the areas of the workforce that you're teaching your students? And we have that, and we're going to continue to grow that over time. So when you hear ACE, ask a little bit more about it. I wanted to highlight that. Another one, I know Colonel Evans did a great job talking, and we've had a number of meetings. Major General Stanton has been very involved, and I to thank all of the staff that's been involved in a partnership that we started a little bit over a year ago. When we asked the question, with this resource right in our own backyard, what can we do to leverage that, and how can we support it? And that was the genesis of Next Gen Cyber. And that encompasses all technology, artificial intelligence, hardware, software, design thinking, and what our students need to know from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Also, students that want to go into that field, getting them ready. We're very thankful for the competitions we've had already out at the fort, and I'd like to brag on a number of our schools because they bring home, both high schools and middle schools, a number of the awards out there. So some great things happening with the partnership. And then the last initiative is around our high school experience, something we started over a year ago. I want to brag on some of that. Our staff and our schools have done absolutely fantastic work there. The high school experience is meant to really engage the kids, as we've already talked about. And we want to engage them not only in the learning and the curriculum, but also all of the other things they need to be prepared to do when they get out of high school. And so part of the high school experience is dual enrollment. We started a partnership this year with AU where Dr. Keel was very helpful in getting one of their professors in every one of our high schools. So we're teaching at least one AU course in every high school. So dual enrollment opportunities on campus as well as at the college. Also our advanced placement, we've seen an increase of almost 300 students moving into AP while we increase dual enrollment by 200. Now here's a big one because everybody in the room has probably a link to the businesses in the area. 2 years ago we had 29 students that were involved in work study and internships. We started this year at over 400. In a 2-year period, we increased that. And so I have to say huge kudos and thank you to our businesses because they're out in the community working in those areas, learning skills and getting credit for it that they're going to be able to come back and help our community later with. Last things with high school experience, from fine arts to electives to athletics and activities, we have a lot that should interest students. I would say if you have a student moving into any level of school, try to get them engaged. We know the research says if they're involved in other activities in school, they'll be more successful with their academics.
That's right. You know, I think, and I love that you guys are working and really focusing on, you know, getting kids in the business place. I mean, these are our future workforce, so you know we need to get them trained the right way and get them trained in the things that we need in our community. So
the chamber kicked that off. You started that work. Now it's turned into something huge.
It's grown, and we love it. We love the partnership. The video obviously displayed a lot of improvements on facilities. You talk a little bit about what you guys are working on already under the 10-year plan.
We have a 10-year building program, probably a lot more than we have time to discuss tonight, but I will highlight some of those. We're in a growing community, so as we see that growth happen, we need to anticipate it and build so the students will be in the classrooms and be able to learn in those very nice learning environments. 2 years ago, we opened 3 additions. Last year, we opened 3 additions. And currently, we're working on 2 brand new schools. Now, this will kind of be the end of the full building of brand new schools, but these are replacement schools. Westmont Elementary School, most of you probably know we tore that school down and are building a new one right on the site. We also have North Columbia Elementary School. We bought property right to the right of that school. If you drive out there, you'll see it leveled now. We're starting the building very shortly. That'll be, Westmont will open next year, and then North Columbia will open the year after. We're also starting the design concepts, and we'll start the renovation and addition at both Lakeside and Evans High School. Those are very large additions. There are a lot of work to go into an existing school while students are there. You can't get that done over a summer. It's probably going to be about a 3 to 4 year project, but I think you're going to be really happy with what that looks like and it's able to add to our students' educational career. Also, people looking to move here and live here and the value of our community and all of our homes. That helps to add to that. So we're trying to do that in the right way. All of our schools, by the end of the 10-year plan, we're hoping to have at a standard. And we're able to do that now because we're finishing the new school building. We're going to try to hurry to get into these older schools to renovate that. We heard that very clearly when we went out to the community and asked questions about what you wanted to see in your school district. So we're actively working right now to make that happen. Last thing I'll mention, junior achievement on the building program, slated to open in January. I saw Ashley Whitaker, who's with Junior Achievement. The Discovery Center of the CSRA is going to open in January, and that's a partnership between Columbia County and Richmond County. We're looking to also bring in other school districts in the area. It's going to be a fantastic program for all of our 6th graders and 7th graders. BizTown and Finance Park. Keep an eye out for it. We're going to have some grand openings, and we'll have tours over there. If you're interested in being a part of it, I think Ashley's in the room. She can answer some of those questions for you, too.
Yes. Okay, obviously it's been in the news a little bit. Obviously the Board of Education recently approved the new budget for the fiscal year 23-24. Tell us a little bit more about that process and the financials and of the school district.
Absolutely, and we're just so proud to talk about this. I won't bore you with all the numbers, but the Board of Education, myself, the staff across all of the schools, we really believe that we provide a very good value to the taxpayer dollar. You probably know, as you follow property taxes and millage rates, that this Board of Education has reduced the millage rate for 3 years in a row. We're now a mill lower than we were 3 years ago. And so we're doing what we need to do. If you look at our administrative expenses, we've gone from about 83% direct school expenditures up to 87%. So we're increasing direct spending in schools and decreasing the amount we're spending in administration. So those few people that are here with me tonight, kudos. They're putting a lot of work in every day.
Excellent. Hey, Dr. Flint, really appreciate your partnership. It's been, what you guys do is obviously a huge impact to our business community. Not only from what you do to train our students, the future, our talent pipeline, but your schools are a big reason why businesses come here and why people come here is because of the top quality schools that you guys provide. So thank you for all you do. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank y'all.
You know the old adage, when it rains, it pours?
Yes, it does.
We saw that tonight. Again, we're going with a retro theme tonight, so we shared a video from last year, but again, we'll do our best to make sure that everybody gets to see this new video that we put together. But before we get started with Miss Elaine Matthews, I want to introduce our representatives from the city of Grovetown. We've got Mayor Gary Jones, again, if you'll raise your hand or stand, Mayor Pro Tem Eric Blair, Councilwoman Soretta Smith, and then Councilwoman Dr. Deborah Fisher are here. So, and of course, joining me on stage, we have City Administrator Miss Elaine Matthews. Welcome. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Grace, and I want to thank you and your staff for the presentation here tonight. They work very hard to take care of every detail. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And there's a great team behind me. And sometimes, like I said, when it rains, it pours, and you make lemonade out of lemons. So, but here we go. Grovetown, you guys are perfectly positioned. You've got the gateway to Fort Gordon. You're great neighbors to the city of Harlem. You're right here in Columbia County. You've got wonderful schools. Can you touch on how important it is to have a good working relationship with each of our community partners?
Absolutely. Being close to Fort Gordon, of course, the recent changes they made there with opening Gate 6 several months ago has helped with the traffic issue to a degree here in Grovetown. So Fort Gordon was a great way. The city of Harlem, we meet quarterly. Our county commissioner meets with us to make sure that our needs are being met and any issues we have are heard. And so we just think we're in a great spot. We welcome people from all walks of life. We are a very diverse community because of Fort Gordon, NSA, and Cyber. We have people from around the world who locate in
in the video that you guys will soon see, we heard a little bit about community events and all of the events that you guys put on each year. One of the favorites of the chamber is your guys' Christmas parade. But why is community such an important part of Grovetown and the focus of you guys' council?
Well, we do try to have events that are inclusive. We have people, again, from all walks of life, and those events are paid for by the city of Grovetown. There's no charge to patrons that come to those, and it should be that way, so all the community can come and enjoy those. And again, we serve a very diverse population. We want to make sure that there's an event that suits the family style, where you can safely bring your family, your children, they can play, you don't have to worry, it's a very safe city. And we think that the events just add something to the community. And in the video that is discussed a whole more, our Christmas event started in 1969 by a lady named Mary Romano, who was a writer for the Columbia News, and that's been continued throughout. And other events, like 4th of July, people line up to eat barbecue. It doesn't matter where you're from, you don't have a Peru residency or anything like that, but people just flock to these events because they're family-oriented and they're affordable. And that's what people are looking for right now, especially after the event of being closed down because people were just looking for something to do and someplace to go. So I feel like our mayor council has done an outstanding job in having budget allotted for those types of events that are critical to the health of the community.
Absolutely, and again, we touched on it with Dr. Flint, the engagement, and you guys are doing that. You're engaging your citizens, your residents to come on out and participate.
Right. We didn't get to hold our Easter egg drop because of weather, but we were allowed to go to the school in Grovetown, schools, and deliver 13,000 Easter eggs.
Oh, that's
The kids loved it.
I imagine they did. That's a lot of sugar rush for them.
They did a huge hunt on the ground there at Grovetown. The teachers were just fascinated by the interaction with the children. It was a wonderful event, so we're going to write official permission to Dr. Freeman, who's here, that allow us to do that each year. Even if we have the egg drop, we still want to go to the schools and pass out these free eggs to our children.
That's great. The video teased a little bit about the depot, and for those, when you see it, you're gonna see a rendering. But talk about what is the depot and what is it going to provide for the community.
The depot is an event center that we're planning for the middle of our town. It's going to be built right next to the railroad tracks, right in the center of town, and it will be a community center where people can come to have wedding parties or anything like that that goes on just a routine basis in the community. Presently, we don't have a facility like that. So this has been on the drawing board for a year and a half. We do have the artist renderings, which were shown in the video. It will seat 125 people comfortably. So it's a great size for just community events, weddings, baby showers, birthday parties, whatever. We looked to break ground maybe in 3 months, and we published the drawings already. It is a nod to the architectural design of the old depot that was torn down in 1975. Some soul, I don't know who it is, but I wish I did, saved boards out of the old depot. And those old boards will be incorporated into the structure.
That's awesome. Carrying that history through and really bringing, and it's also, let's face it, there's always a need for great meeting places, and it's nice to hear that you guys are going to have another community center that people can utilize. So.
And we would invite you all to be users of it.
Oh, we will.
GMA has already hit us up for a space. So.
The chamber is one to leverage every meeting space that we can, so we'll be there. So, hey, the past few years have been a wild and interesting ride with coming out of COVID and everything, but what's the financial health of the city look like, and how are the businesses in Grovetown kind of recovering post-pandemic?
Yes, sir. As we know, the COVID shutdown affected so many phases of what we do. Of course, the school systems had to deal with it. government's going to deal with it. But I can just say that our state has a law, even if you're shopping online or whatever, state sales tax is still collected on sales. So during the COVID, we collected as much or more sales tax as we normally did, because even though Columbia Countyans were at home, they were still shopping. So sales tax is important to us. As you all know, there's a special option. Sales tax is what allows us to do so many capital improvements. Out of that recent SPLOST, over $5 million is going to be spent at Liberty Park to improve recreation facilities there. So we really didn't suffer like some communities did. Our building permits and things like that really were not affected. And so we consider ourselves to be very fortunate that we did not suffer like some communities. However, there were some small businesses that were affected. But our mayor council have done an outstanding job with budgeting. We require department heads to adhere to the budgets. We have purchasing policies to protect us. And they have done a great job allocating money for salary increases and benefits that have enabled us to attract quality employees. And so I commend them because they are the policymakers. They're the ones that make these things happen. And they have done an outstanding job. Our city is in really good financial shape. And so even though COVID set back many businesses, and it did have an adverse effect on us, I don't think any of us could sit here tonight and say it didn't affect us, because it did. We saw the schools struggle with that, and so we all struggle with it. But I think our city has recovered. They've done a great job, and we give all that credit to our mayor council, because they are the policymakers. They set the rules that we abide by, and they have been great stewards of the money that is collected by the city of Grovetown, whatever the source may be. And so we are just blessed that we live in a city where resources are shared. Columbia County furnishes water to this community, and I think about the water flowing out to the communities. That's how everything flows. And we know the sales SPLOST meetings, and Scott's still, I will touch on that, but Grovetown, Harlem, and the Columbia County sit down in a very short period of time. We have achieved the balance that it takes to present the contract to the state so that our sales tax dollars are equally shared by the entire county. Everybody walks out happy, and that's a great thing. Yeah. We live in a great county. We have great neighbors, Harlem, Fort Gordon, Augusta Tech. Let me please
yes.
kudos to the miracles of Augusta Tech.
Dr. World's in the house.
I saw him a while ago. So we're just a fantastic place to be, as you pointed out earlier. We are just in a great spot. We're close to I-20, close to Fort Gordon, close to resources that people want, shopping, and so we're just it's a great community.
I go back to how I started it. You guys are perfectly positioned in our county, and we thank you for all the things that you guys do for your community, and they're not just for the city of Grovetown. It's for people throughout. So
that's correct. And I have actually just rode through the parking lots when we have these events just to see where the tags are from.
Yeah.
Because you look for many in Columbia County, but we see tags from all over. And it's just amazing people that come to Grovetown to take advantage of some of these events that we put on. So it just doesn't affect Grovetown. It affects a lot of people. South Carolina, we see tags from all over, especially with a lot of military people. You expect some of that.
Yeah.
But we see that all the time, that we're consistently visited by other communities. So that's a great thing. It's a testimony for our community that we reach out. And we are diverse. We do diverse events so that everybody's included. And that's important.
Couldn't ask for anything more. Miss Elaine Matthews, let's give her another round of applause. Thank you. Got one video, right?
Yeah.
Hey, wanted to take a quick minute again to introduce the members of the Board of Commissioners. So again, if you're here, raise your hand or stand, whatever you prefer. But I know Chairman Duncan couldn't be here, but we do have Vice Chairman Gary Richardson, who I believe, he's come down in the front, so representing District 3. We have Commissioner Connie Malier representing District 1, and then we have Commissioner Don Skinner representing District 2, and of course Commissioner Allison Couch representing District 4. And then joining me on stage tonight is County Manager Scott Johnson, who is supported in the audience by Deputy County Manager Glenn Kennedy and Deputy County Manager Matt Schlagner. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, Scott, the hot seat is yours. Let's start with SPLOS. Last year we were here talking about SPLOS, campaigning for the renewal. Let's talk about we've got it passed. What are some of the projects and things that we're going to be seeing in the short term?
Well, you've heard it already tonight. SPLOS is just such an important thing in this community. This facility was built with a general obligation bond, but when you look around at all of our parks and all the things that are happening in Columbia County, we've had a very successful SPLOS program since the 1990s. This was a continuation. I know the Chamber helped with the passage of the SPLOS. It's very important to remember that it was a continuation because now we are in the next SPLOS, the 23 to 28 SPLOS, but we're just in the infancy of collections. So we really hadn't collected enough money yet to start off any of our major projects, but we have kick-started a few of those, like the Building A that the Chairman talked about. This is going to be hopefully the last building we have to build on our campus here in Evans to house all of our facilities that we need here. And the current building we're in, Building A, is, I think we moved in 1987, and that building's really given us a lot of problems. So we're very excited about that. We're also looking to expand a couple of our parks out of our partners in Grovetown and Harlem. We have some money in the SPLOS for them, but we'll be working on the 23 to 28 SPLOS well into the future. What we're really focusing on now is trying to finish up the projects that we had in the 11 to 16 SPLOS and the 17 to 22 SPLOS. And it just takes a long time to finish all those projects out. And, obviously you have to collect all that money before you can spend it. So that's what we're working on right now. We did not advance fund anything in the 23 to 28 SPLOS. You'll hear the word from me a lot when I'm talking about Columbia County. We're very intentional in what we do. And it just wasn't prudent for us to advance any funding at that particular time for the 23 to 28 SPLOS because we're working on the other SPLOS trying to fill those out. But sure. Lots of projects are coming. The projects that were voted on by the community will be done in all of those SPLOS, and we've got a lot of great things coming to Columbia County.
We sure do, and I mean, you saw many of them touched on in the video, but yeah. Speaking of the video, obviously Chairman Duncan is proud of keeping that millage rate going down in that direction at least. Where does that put us, and what does that actually mean to the taxpayer?
We can't really emphasize this enough, Russ. I think people miss out on this piece a lot when you're thinking about living in an award-winning community. You're living in an award-winning community that has some of the lowest taxes, not just in Georgia, but really in the country. And it's really amazing that we're able to do that. So the chairman mentioned that this board of commissioners that you see right in here, they voted to lower the millage rate again this year for the 7th time in the last 8 years. The only year we didn't lower it, we left it the exact same, and that was a COVID year because of the uncertainty. But this year, this board of commissioners took another step. Our members of the General Assembly are here. Some of them are still here, I know. And our governor this year, they instituted an additional homestead exemption. So instead of your standard $2,000 exemption, you're going to get an additional $18,000 exemption this year. So what the board challenged me with was coming up with a millage rate, even though your values were rising, right? We hear that a lot. It's magic math or whatever that the county's doing. My property values are going up, and they keep saying my taxes are going down, but my tax bill is going up every single year. I always come back with, well, would you rather live in a community where your values are going up and your taxes are going down, or where your values are going down and your taxes are going up? Because that's your other option, right? So we're living in that community where the values are going up and the taxes are coming down. But this year the board challenged us with, okay, Scott, try to figure out what a millage rate would be where somebody can actually pay the same or less than they paid last year, even with the average of an 11.6% increase in their property value. And we've been able to do that. So when you get your tax bill, you can thank the governor and the General Assembly, and you can thank this Board of Commissioners, because this year taxes are going to be the same or lower than they were last year. And we're still doing amazing things in the community, without having to cut those services that we're providing.
That's right. You talk about, again, a lot of the work that goes on in the community, and again, Doug touched on the road construction. Transportation is obviously a huge issue. We've got the major projects going on. We've got Lewiston, Erie's Ferry, Flowing Wells, but the county, what is the county doing to make sure and maintain the rest of the streets in the community so that we're still pacing with the growth in the community?
Yeah, well, the chairman mentioned in the video, we're spending $500 million, and that money is already funded. So we're not looking to increase taxes. The money is already there or coming in as we're moving forward. $500 million in just roadway infrastructure in Columbia County. So I think that's huge. It's a huge investment in and of itself. But it's not just those major roads. We're doing a lot of repaving. I think in our next T-Splosh, you're going to see millions of dollars of paving. So we're going to go back and pave a lot of the older neighborhoods. We're going to go back and pave a lot of the roads that have come into disrepair over the years. We realize that that's an important aspect. We need to keep up with that as well. So we're working on that. So it's not just widening the major roads, but I think it's important for people to understand and realize that as the community grows, we have to do the infrastructure then. I think Columbia County a lot of times has been criticized, and I believe wrongly so, for not keeping up with the growth. I think it would not be prudent, and I think you would be unhappy as taxpayers if we built a 5-lane road to nowhere, right? So we have to wait till that nowhere becomes somewhere, and then we get criticized because we waited too late to build the road there. Welcome to my world. That's exactly what we deal with all the time. But we have to strike a balance between those two. I think this commission has done an outstanding job of that. Our staff has done a really good job of that. And you'll see a lot of investments in our roads going forward. He did mention Hereford Farm Road and Hardy Maintenance Road. Those are two projects that are coming up. Those are two major projects that will be moving forward. One, hopefully, will get started at the end of this year, and then the other a year after. We're trying to spread these projects out. I've said many times, and I'll say it again this year, I hope it's not the case, but we probably ought to think about changing that logo from a sailboat to an orange cone, because that's kind of what Columbia County is known by. We have construction everywhere. But I'll say this, people talk about how bad traffic is in Columbia County. We're doing a tremendous amount of construction right now. And if you're delayed by traffic, you're probably delayed by construction. That's really where it is. And Washington Road is a great example. People were very upset. My phone was ringing off the hook when we were 5-laning Washington Road all the way out to Riverwood. And I made this comment about a month or so ago. I said, nobody's called to thank me for doing it, but I got a lot of calls from people that were upset when we were doing it. But now there's not any more traffic problems out that way. And you're going to see that all over this county. This Board of Commissioners, I can tell you that they are very intentional about what this community is going to look like and what we need to do in making sure that we're providing the best service for our citizens. And we're seeing to it that happens.
Well, and talk about that too. Investment is kind of what I'm hearing you talk about, is investing and making sure that we're keeping up with that. But I want to talk about safety. Doug Duncan touched on it, and he talked about the license plate readers specifically. Yep. But you guys have taken a very bold and tough stance on crime. What can kind of our residents kind of expect? The tough on crime approach, but still protecting the rights and the freedoms. People hear license plate readers, and what does that mean? Am I going to get caught speeding through a camera or something? Right. What does that mean for our county residents?
Well, we are making big investments in that. I think the beginning of our own judicial circuit was kind of the first step for Columbia County. And I will say that our judges, our district attorney, Bobby Christine, they are tough on crime in Columbia County. I've watched that man in action, and they're not going to tolerate some problems that you see other places in the United States in Columbia County. So a safe community is the best community. It doesn't matter how good our roads are, and it doesn't matter how good our schools are, and it doesn't matter how nice our parks are. if you don't feel safe in this community, you're not going to live in it. So we owe it to them. We owe it gratitude and thanks to them for keeping us safe. And to our sheriff, who has done an outstanding job. He's been here for a long time. Clay Whittle has just done an outstanding job when it comes to that. But now we're putting technology on the forefront. You can't have a deputy on every corner. So the sheriff has instituted a real-time crime center. And we are leveraging assets that we already had, that we had the foresight to do many, many years ago when no other community had it. Columbia County installed our own broadband network, which allows us to have our own fiber in the ground, that gives us the opportunity to connect all these cameras to this real-time crime center. So now we actually have dispatchers, I would say, solving crimes because they're watching it happen in real time and directing our deputies that do an outstanding job, and the police in the cities as well, who have access to the same thing, who have the ability to be able to go out and catch those bad guys when they need to be caught. These cameras and license plate readers I'll touch on as well, but the cameras that we have in place in the real-time crime center, these are not to issue traffic tickets. These are to put bad people in jail. And I'm very glad to say that we've already solved a couple of murders and put murderers in jail as a result of this technology that we have here in Columbia County. These are the people that we don't want on the street. But above and beyond that, the license plate readers that we're installing right now, they will be all over the county. They'll be in strategic spots all over the county. But that's going to give our sheriff and our district attorney and the rest of our folks in the judicial network the ability to know when the bad guy is here. If that tag has been tagged somewhere, you would be surprised at the amount of gang activity that we have in Columbia County that is not people from Columbia County. We've got people coming from other places, primarily Columbia, South Carolina area. For whatever reason, they're driving down I-20 just to come here to commit crimes. And the technology that we have in place is going to identify them early. Our sheriff's going to catch them. Our DA is going to prosecute them. And then our judges are going to put them away. And we're putting these people out of our county. So don't get all upset. The license plate reader is not to give you a ticket because, your insurance lapsed. That's not what it's for. It is to catch the bad guys. It's to keep the community safe. Because on that foundation, I think Columbia County will continue to prosper.
Absolutely. Hand in hand with the quality of schools and things that people look for in a community, safety is one of them, and I think your Sheriff Whittle and his team do an outstanding job keeping this community safe, and really appreciate everything you guys bring. So please give Scott another round of applause.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.